official meeting. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Scott, I'll let you lead the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome. All right. The minutes reflect we're all here today. And, let's get right into our business. Welcome our visitors. Dan, I'll wait for you to take a seat.
My apologies.
That's all right. All righty. We'll start with the minutes from the December 21st Board of Works.
I left those over. Did you see?
Fine.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Lynn, any reports or written communications?
No, I don't have anything.
I know you did send me the budget order this morning from the state, and they're all as we approved, so took a look at it and it seemed pretty good. All right. With no unfinished business, let's move right into our new business. This first item, I will have Stacy Young from my office talk about the road closure request form. I think, as she'll explain, essentially what we're doing is we're formalizing the process with a specific form. And in the past, we haven't had that. It was just handled typically through PD and with other departments involved, with our downtown coordinator involved, with my office involved. It's just nice to have a document that lays out all of the details. So we're just asking you, with Stacy's explanation, any questions you have or any modifications you might see here, to consider this as the form that we will use when someone requests a street closure. So, Stace?
Mayor covered most of it. Yes, this is the form that we would like to use to help formalize this process before the road closure requests come to you for Board of Works approval. We need a better process getting up to that point. It'll provide us a paper trail, and it will also help internally after a request has been approved, so that we have a piece of paper to go off of scheduling, to make plans for personnel, for barricades, whatever might be involved, instead of relying on emails or verbal communications, which is kind of what's been happening up to this point. To look at the form real quickly, most of it is just your general event information. We are asking whether or not they charge admission to event. That was included simply because the Board of Works tends to ask that question frequently. So we wanted to include that on the form. There's also a question about whether or not the event is for profit or any part of the event is for profit. That question stems from police department wanting to know if they are trying to, even if they're not charging admission, are you trying to make money off of the event? Is this a for-profit event? That determines who pays for their security detail for those events. So I wanted to clarify that. The insurance coverage question, we are not requiring insurance coverage. I do want to clarify that. We are just asking whether or not they have event coverage for their event. It would be up to the board's discretion as they take each event under consideration, whether or not they want to make that a contingency of approval to require that insurance for the event. And then this also spells out an assigned person. Whoever's name is on this form will be the one responsible for contacting dispatch and will be our point of contact, which is important for some of the events where we have several people involved in planning those events. It gives the city one point of contact and dispatch one point of contact for that road closure. I think the rest of it is fairly self-explanatory. So do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I think we kind of formalized with this statement at the top, all road closure requests must be submitted no later than 1 month prior to the event date. Obviously, that gives it a chance to get to this board. I know we have had a few last-minute requests on people that had forgotten, and again, having this form that pretty much spells out our rules and expectations helps us as we try and make a decision on things like that. So I appreciate the work that's been put into this. I think everyone decided it was time to just get it all down on one sheet of paper. The bottom, you can see there's a little internal routing sheet or list that makes sure all these things have been done. So,
And that's one other important point is you will begin seeing this form when the road closures come to you as the board. So you will have all of this information in front of you. You will know that emergency services have already approved it. Again, another question that tends to be asked when these come before the board. So you will be seeing all of this information in front of you as you give consideration and prepare for the meeting.
the only thing I might ask you, if you've thought about, is if there are multiple requests, i.e. the farmer's market and First Friday, should there be maybe a line on here, is this a repeat event? And then just so that everybody is aware, and maybe they should, even if it's a repeat event, maybe they should put the dates, because there may be dates that they're not there, and again, just a thought, or maybe
Sure.
make a separate form for repeating events. I don't
And
know.
that was why, if you look at the event date, it says date with the S and apostrophes to accommodate those repeat events. There are some events like First Fridays, while 8 of them may be the same, there are the 2 or 3 that are handled differently and they require different road closures or different city support. And so this would allow for them to use the form either on an individual basis or
They can do a separate form for those
right.
specific-
Farmers market, it's the same each time they have it, so it would make sense for them just to list the dates or to put them on a separate piece of paper that we attach and handle it that way.
This also includes like neighborhood block party closures. Would that be correct?
I would think it would.
Okay, just-
that the
Yeah, it's
idea
not specific to
for all-
downtown.
Right.
Just clarifying that. Since we have those from time to time.
My concern, Mayor, was what you mentioned at the top. The 1 month must be submitted. I'm not sure that we want to do that. Is that an issue? That was the one thing. The other thing, we see that you have the event start and then you have the road closure time. I was looking for that because oftentimes it's very different.
Yeah, it's,
Since I saw that.
got that, yeah.
And so that's good. And then, do you want date received, date submitted? It looks like you have a drop off for Paula.
We do, if you look down in the internal section at the bottom,
Yeah.
date received is on there.
Okay, like, in other words, well, I turned it in, I dropped it off on Thursday, and now you're telling me you didn't get it till Monday. Now I'm not within the month window. I didn't know if you wanted to put date submitted. I didn't see anything in there where if I'm applying, where I turned it in. Okay.
So you're saying for the submitter, for them to have it placed to date?
Date submitted, yeah.
Sure, we can add that on there.
I just, as I looked at it the other day and now looking at it again,
I
so.
think it
Yeah.
would be helpful to also have the event start time and event end time right next to the road closure start time and road reopen time. And then even put that little note in there about, a second note that they are responsible for contacting dispatch. I know you got that at the bottom, but even at that point where they decide, when they want the road closed, it's all in here. It just might be a little easier for us to interpret and for them to understand how important that is.
Sure,
I agree with that. That's a good point. That's a good point.
sure.
Because I always assume that those individuals are calling dispatch. I have no way of knowing if they ever really did or not. And by the way, do we submit this form, or we obviously haven't had a form, would it be a good idea for dispatch to have a copy of this form?
That might be a better question for police.
At least if somebody didn't call, then they could check and see if something happened, or maybe they, you know what I'm saying?
And we can work that out internally. Captain Beam will be seeing this form each time that one is submitted because Roger will be getting with him on the emergency services end of things. So that can just be part of our internal process, which we're going to kind of be working through now that
Yeah.
we have a form in place.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Again, I think everything's on here. I didn't really see anything that's not, and it, again, asks the questions that are important.
The organizations that have done this in the past, I'm sure are comfortable. They've been in here every year, but I do believe this will help people that have never done, what do I do? Well, here's the form. Fill it out. I think it will be very helpful, and it appears, Mayor, that this is going to be great for us at our end. We just know what's going on, and it'll help us also as a Board of Works approve. Okay.
Do you feel maybe we should under this roads will be closed, have them provide a sketch or a diagram. I know sometimes they just go a half block. They don't want to block the alley. It might be harder to articulate that. Maybe you could just put a line in there, please provide a diagram, a specific diagram as well.
Sure.
Then it leaves, you know, we don't have a problem when we go set those barriers up.
Yeah, we can do that. And then Roger Sarber will formalize that with the diagram that you're used to seeing, the Google Maps overlay that he typically would provide to the board.
So he will continue to provide that.
Yes.
map, I see.
Yes, he is the one creating that map right now, and he will continue to do that.
That'll be a part of this.
But this is going to help him with that process.
Okay. So this will come to Paula. She'll submit it then to who?
Roger. Roger is our point person internally for road closures.
And then he will get the map set up, and then what's his next step?
He will also bounce it off of emergency services, so send the form to them for their approval, and then he'll submit it for Board of Works
So he
approval.
submits it for,
Yes, yes. And that's the same internal process that we have going right now. It's just formalizing that, giving us a paper trail instead of relying on email responses back and forth or a phone call. It's going to be all in one place as we pass that on.
I mean, I think this is a great start. You know, a few of the changes we've talked about, I'm sure we can continue to tweak this as we need to. So I feel pretty good about this.
I move to approve the road closure request form template.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other final comments or questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
All right. Sheila, you're on. We'll start with item one, canvas painting instructor, coffee and canvas, actually it's item 2 on your agenda.
So Kara Schaefer has been our coffee and canvas instructor as long as we've been doing it. She's great. She was a kindergarten art teacher for many years and decided to stay home with her children, but now she is still using her artistic ability to do things like this. So this is for the 5 dates throughout the year of 2019 that we will have the class, and it is $500 total, $100 per date.
Sounds very reasonable. I'll move to approve.
Second?
Any further discussion? I guess the only question I have, is she from Madison, Indiana?
She lives there now. Her family lives here still.
I see.
Her husband was military and they moved all over and settled in Madison.
All right, I just was curious, $100 would cover.
She comes and spends the weekend with her family here and does this just as
All right.
something fun to do.
Questions? All right, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Item 3, contract with Our Father's House.
Yep, this is our annual catering contract for our Father's House for the Daddy's Little Sweetheart Dance. It is the same price, $6 a head. Last year, it was $6 a head. It also is this year. We have a 300-person max for the 2 nights. Tickets went on sale Wednesday, and we have less than 100 left
I was just gonna say.
as of this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think when I left the office, we were at 207 sold. So 93 tickets left.
that's pretty neat. That's a great event. So Our Father's House has catered in the past and obviously.
Ever since we've had it.
Very good.
Yep.
Questions?
I move to approve the contract.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and then the entertainment for the evening?
The DJ for the Daddy's Little Sweetheart Dance. Derek Tenney has done it the past 2 years. He does great. And having the 2 nights, he gives us a break on that second night. It's only an extra $50 compared to $200 when he just did the 1 night for us. So I feel like that's a really great price. He's family friendly. The kids love the music he plays.
Okay. Questions?
I move to approve.
Second.
Further discussion? All All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Next item is the acceptance of the REMC grant.
Yeah, I received notification that we were approved for or awarded the Kosciuszko County REMC Operation Roundup Grant for $1,500 to help support the 2019 Family Carnival. And that money is used to bring in like the magicians or the entertainment, whatever we have for that year.
Great, I'll move to approve the acceptance of the grant.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Sheila, I appreciate you going after these grants. It obviously is helpful. I'm also very thankful to the Community Foundation and
Absolutely.
all of the other partners that support these great events that we have in our community. And I don't ever want to take these for granted and go unnoticed that the Kosciuszko County Community Foundation supported this event. So thank you, and certainly our thanks go out to the foundation for their support of this event and all the other events that they do.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, Larry.
Yeah, we've got our annual agreement with Anderson Property Management. They did this at Central Park since 2012. Did a good job. They take care of our 18 satellite beds and our 21 urns that are around the park. They plant them, the fertilizer, they take care of them, water them throughout the 9 months of the contract. So then in the wintertime, they come around, they pull the flowers out of the urns, and they put greenery and ribbons in for our Christmas display. So it would be my recommendation to have them do it again this year.
Will there be any additional beds with the new extension of Indiana Street?
That I don't know. It appears to me that there might be one in the Buffalo Street right there, but I mean, that's something we can handle if that goes this year, and then possibly put it in this contract for the following year.
Yeah, I'd ask that you
Yeah.
check with Jeremy, and if that is, has been designed that way. I know down on the plaza, there will be more, but that obviously will be under construction this year, so
Yep.
we don't need to worry about it this year. But I didn't know if, right in Indiana there and Canal, if there was, I've seen there's a bed in the
I think there's an island right as you
In the
drive into
island,
that,
yeah, so-
and that could be the case. We could do that with the Uptown Flowers if we needed to for this year, and then possibly in the next year get it in this. Yes,
Wonderful.
yes. Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any questions, any other questions on that?
I move to accept.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Larry.
you, thank you.
All right, Justin, this is a application for the Buffalo Street project.
Yeah, so I've submitted for your approval on behalf of the Redevelopment Authority, pay application number 32 in the amount of $33,667.70. This is going to Selge Construction for the continued construction of the Buffalo Street project. Any questions on that?
Justin, I was trying to determine how much remains for them to be paid. I know there was just a few things that need to be done, and our retainage is in there.
Yeah, it looks like there's about, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's $89,000 left.
Right.
Remaining for the project is the landscaping and some piping work that is still left to do. The landscaping will obviously happen in the spring. I believe some of the piping work can happen over the winter.
Right.
So,
And then there's an additional roughly $44,000 in retainage that remains.
yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Questions?
No, I'll move to approve the application.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, thank you. Next item, this is a contract with HRP. They will be putting the sanitary sewer system in the airport and industrial park. They were the lowest bidder, and now it's time to sign that contract.
So, yeah, the contract's in the amount of $6,090,000. So, but like Joe said, it's HRP Construction, Inc. for the construction of the airport industrial park sanitary sewer. And this was
Justin, are you
the,
familiar with just the timeline when they anticipate starting, and James either?
the timeline is 500, I believe 520 days for the project to be completed. Obviously, timing is a factor. We just annexed that portion into the city, so we want to provide the sewer system out there to those businesses. So I believe 520 days would be for the project completion. So it's a relatively condensed timeline, about a year and a half.
And they will start immediately, or?
It would be anticipated. There is some work, though. We're putting in a new pump station and a new force main. That kind of work could be done over the winter months if they choose to do that. There's a contract requirement that they can't have more than 1,000 feet of roadway opened up. All of the collection system is pretty much in the roadways that are out there. And we've got a requirement that after 1,000 feet, they've got to get asphalt covered back over, a base coat of asphalt on that so it doesn't stay open, just aggregate, which means they won't be able to do any of the roadway work until the plants open up in that April timeframe. So I don't expect disturbance for travel to happen any before mid-April. The pump station work and that force main is directional drill, and that's out of the roadway area. So I don't know at this point if they intend to start as soon as we get the contract to them. I think they had asked that we delay the start of the project till about a month, so early February.
That timeframe starts when the contract is
But the
signed.
500 some days that Justin
Okay, gotcha.
referenced is whenever we give them that notice to proceed, they've got that long
So
to
they're on the
finish.
clock, and it just is probably weather dependent.
Yep, and they're going to have to anticipate that once that clock starts, they've got to be in the roadway during the season that the paving plants are open. So they won't be able to be laying pipe next winter, even though it goes across a year. It's part of the reason we gave them the extra time,
Gotcha.
is because we felt it was more important because this is a developed area. We didn't want all of the roadways torn up and the risk over a winter month without being able to plow it then.
Very good, thank you very much. Any other questions?
I move to approve.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thanks, Justin.
thanks.
All right, item number 9, there's been a request to table this. Evidently, there's more information that will need to be acquired for this to be considered, so I would ask that someone motion to table this Heartland Restoration Service contract till the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. So then item number 10, this is the MOU with Lilly for the education, stormwater education.
Yes, and Ryan's here, if he wants to explain more. They have some new education opportunities this year with their new science center that they built at Grace. We've entered into this agreement for several years now, but they get out into the schools, they do adult education outreach. It's helping to meet our MS4 requirements for public education and outreach. This is a 3-year agreement with $25,000 a year. Are they still doing the lakes in the classroom and those? Yeah. So they put aquariums in all the local schools with native fish and go in and do education with those. Do you want to explain some of the new things they're going to be doing this year?
All right, so like Brian kind of introduced, that this contract ultimately will be kind of like a catalyst for our current education that we have going through our extension, which is the Lilly Center for Lakes and Streams. We also do education through soil and water, as well as P4C, or Pathways for Conservation. But Lilly Center is our predominant group that we contract with for our education, just because of their scope as well as the type of education they already do. This will be tagging off of their new facility, which they have had already 2 tours through for 2 different classes. They have I do not know what the actual system is called, but essentially it is a box full of sand that has a projector over the top, and the sand basically has colors projected from the top of what level of topography it is. And then it's basically a very interactive watershed playground for kids. So they get that, as well as they have multiple other green infrastructure or stormwater structures that manage stormwater on their site there, that they're actually doing tours around there as well. Something that we haven't done yet as a city would be a green roof. So that is another section within this contract in which we're able to take pilot data for basically a project that we haven't put in money towards, to see if this is this actually feasible and practical for the city to maybe address to help with stormwater management. But ultimately, the contract is to increase the type of education and hone in on the type of education for stormwater management, which would be best management practices. And it will be pushing towards more so what the city is doing. So not only are they doing their own stormwater management or stormwater quality education, but it's going to be fashioned to a sense to, it's going to be pointing towards what the city has done and what we are doing. And it's very focused on place-based learning, or PBL. So that's ultimately what this contract is for. And it's going to be sustaining a position that's specifically meant to focus on some of these items.
So quite an expansion of opportunity for grade school kids.
As well as adult. So they're going to be doing a lot of different tours on site there as well. So
I said grade school, actually it's K through 12, it's across the board. So will they continue to do the aquariums in class, aquariums?
yes, so this is a separate contract aside from that what we're actually doing already with the Lakes in the Classroom, Lakes Festival, all those other programs that we're invested into.
Right. Does this include the fact that they will be coming into the classroom as well? Or is this just now, wasn't in the classroom in the past and it's all going out to the college, to the building?
It's both. So there's, yep, it's still both. So ultimately, we are adding another avenue for where we're getting our educational needs for state compliance satisfied, as well as continuing to culture what we're trying to go for here in the city of Warsaw with being stewards of our environment.
Questions?
No, that science building is awesome. If anyone hasn't been over there to see the Lily Lakes and Streams and the new Grace Science Building, you should go. That interactive sandbox is just unbelievable. So we're blessed to have that in the area, and it must work out, be a good partnership for the educational part of what you guys have to do. So I'll move that we approve the agreement.
Thanks for your leadership, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'll second.
So, and I know I always mention this when these contracts come up, but not only is this a benefit to our kids, but this is also, and Ryan's already mentioned it, this is part of our MS4 requirement that we are required to provide public education on stormwater. So Grace is actually helping us out by providing quality education. Yes. And it's very helpful that we've got that partnership. So, any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Brian, Paddlers for Conservation.
Yeah, Ryan sort of mentioned they're another group we've utilized to help meet some of our requirements through our MS4 program. They're a lot more hands-on, well, not more hands-on, but some of the requirements they help meet is getting out and picking up litter, cleaning out the river waterways, removing log jams so that the rivers are accessible for canoeing and recreation. And then they track that information and provide it to us so we can report how much litter's been removed, how many log jams have been cleared. It's open, you know, they'll put out when they're going to do these activities, and area residents can participate in those activities. This money just helps provide the materials and the boats and chainsaws and those things that they need to accomplish this.
And this is, we've had a relationship with them for several years.
Yeah, this is third.
This is our third year, but this new contract's increased up to from 2,000 to 4,000 due to safety issues, a little bit more urgency, some items that they need, like waiters. They had 2 members or volunteers go into the hospital due to staph infection. So from cleaning up, it didn't clear it away. But about 34 treks they do a year with about 25 to 30 participants each time, and it seems to be increasing each time.
So are you saying the extra is so that they can purchase equipment, safety equipment?
Yes, the increase is more for the urgency of the safety equipment, or at least items that they would need to make sure that a few residents that are actually volunteering safe.
Has the work elements, as you listed in Article 2 here, has that increased from our last few contracts, or are they still doing primarily the same thing on the
They're doing the
river?
same thing, so
Okay.
essentially they'll give us who's all involved, or at least their sign-in sheets, and then it just helps me get trending data for how many log jams they're removing, just for future data.
Okay.
In the MS4 annual report that is sent to IDEM, we have to give some of this information as to, how many people, how much litter, how many log jams. So all that data then they provide to us, and we're able to report that to the state, which helps meet our requirements also.
All right. Questions?
No, I move to approve.
Second?
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Brian,
Yes.
I wanted to remind everyone, and need you to fill in the blanks here. Anchorage Road is going to be closed, I believe. Is it Tuesday and Wednesday?
Tuesday and Wednesday. It will remain open for, local access to the business and businesses along there. They were hoping to have this finished before Christmas, but they have, I believe, 2 sections to complete. And so after Wednesday, it should not be closed again for pipe repair anyways.
So this is the relining, the rehab of?
The rehab,
Okay. All
that's
right.
the last link that goes from that hospital pump station over to Anchorage area.
So traffic will be open to local traffic, I assume, to
Yeah,
Meyer?
it'll be restricted
Yeah.
because,
So will it go all the way out to 30?
The railroad track to 30, I believe, is what.
But will the,
15, 30? Oh, yes, that whole stretch will be restricted.
okay.
They're going to be working more towards the west end of Anchorage. But we'll maintain access so that everybody can get to the banks and that strip mall that's there. And
Okay, all right.
Do you know what time they're gonna be closing the road? 7 a.m.?
I'm going to, I don't have a time. I will assume it's going to be early in the morning on Tuesday. They typically begin work around 7.
So just plan to maybe avoid that area on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Correct.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got some travel requests here. The majority of these appear to be fire,
They're all fired.
and they were approved at the Fire Territory Board meeting earlier this week. So, Jennifer?
Four individuals will be going down for one class, and then next month, Dave Cotter and Andrew will be going down for another one. We do try to do a lot of our trainings in-house. An example, coming up next week, we have what we call a TIM. It's a traffic incident management. Police, fire, emergency response are involved. NIPSCO training is coming the week after, but sometimes they have to go out of town. If you need more details, Mike is not here, but Shirley can help out.
Are the first 2 not spending the night? Is that why it's so much less?
A lot of times they share rooms,
Oh, okay.
so you don't have
Or
that.
it could be
total.
reimbursed.
Sharing of the rooms.
Okay.
And one of them has a parking space.
Right.
Oh, I see.
They travel together.
Okay.
Let's see if they go.
I move to accept all this presented.
Second.
Further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Lynn, any special claims?
I do not have any special claims, just the regular, the end of the month, and the pension docket.
All right,
Did you see that?
No.
My question I got answered, so
Oh, I have a statement to say too, that, on the regular docket, I think it was. Anyways, we made the last payment to the bond for City Hall, so it's all paid off. We can have a mortgage birdie party, or a bond birdie party.
I think we should, that's critical. That's good to hear, Lynn, thank you for bringing that up, very good to hear. I think this City Hall has served our city very well, has served our downtown well. It was now without a little controversy, but I truly feel the city and the community have benefited from it. And now that it's paid off, it's a little easier to say that, but I'm very thankful that we were able to maintain this building in this downtown, and we're obviously committed downtown, and I think our vibrancy of our downtown is a big part of why we are here. So,
I want to thank Ernie Wiggins, former mayor.
Yes.
As well as council members, now the current mayor, Talmer. Also other stakeholders convincing me that this would be a good idea. I can remember walking through here, those initial looks, and I thought, what are we getting ourselves into? And I, once again, reminding myself I have no vision at all. This is a very, very nice thing for the community. So I think former Mayor Wiggins and others that I haven't named, but just making it a reality. So,
and I think we shouldn't, we do need to mention the Mash family. They were the owners of the building and were very interested in the community benefiting from this building, and were very instrumental in obviously making sure that happened. And I think everybody was happy that the building is the way it is now. Although it's a little cold in here this morning, got a few things that always go wrong in a 100-year-old building, but by and large, it's been a great thing. And again, burning the mortgage is always a good thing, so.
Burning the bond.
Burning the bond.
privileged to sit here. This is a good thing. So.
All right.
Wonderful city, yes.
Yep.
It is, turned
Thank
out
you.
well.
Well, with that, is that on the docket here somewhere, Lynn?
It is, and I was trying to find,
Yeah,
I was
too.
I was
saw it
going to,
Point it out.
point it out, but I lost where it was. I just know I saw it, and it's like, ooh, that, and I remember seeing, making the payment and stuff, but, let me look here.
I would like that noted in the minutes, that was included in this docket. Because I saw it and I lost it as well.
Yeah, I will do that.
Okay. All right, so with that, is there a motion to approve the docket?
There is a motion to approve the docket with noting the minutes that the bond was paid off with
Completely.
City Hall.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you. Anything else come before the Board of Works? Mr. Sherwin, just here to lend your support? Yep. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Security.
All right. With that, I'll ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, thank you.